everyone, this is the Random Engineer. Today we're going to continue designing a dog kennel using the Wellman feature in SolidWorks. So just to do that, we're going to go click on key R and then just click on dog kennel. Letter R shows us the previous work that we've been working on, so you don't have to search for it on your Windows Explorer or anything like. So I was just thinking a little bit more about this design, and I decided to change it a little bit. Just some dimensions mainly, and then I'm gonna create a new sketch so we can work more on the dog kennel itself. So as of now, I'm gonna drag this blue line right here and drag it just after the 3D sketch. What that's gonna allow me to do is edit this part without having to wait for everything to calculate, because you could also just do that within the SolidWorks SolidWorks edit part mode, which is just a regular part mode. But the bad thing is that it's trying to calculate as it goes. So the difference there is the time it takes you to see a change. Well, if you just drag this, you're just omitting all the calculation that you did before and just click and drag, and that's what the blue bar works for. Now you have another option if you want to edit, and go down, clicking on Shift, and then just go suppress, and that's going to allow you to do the same pretty much. So I'm just going to tell you the difference between the two ways of designing. So let's say I make a sketch now. If I make a sketch, I just have to select the plane wherever and make a circle here. It's just a little sketch for now. So as you see, that sketch, I'm gonna show it so you can see what we're doing. And as you see, that sketch is after all the previous features right here. So that's well, it depends on what you want to do, right? So if you want to sketch something first and then change the edit the features depending on that sketch, you can do it if you just drag the sketch up here. But if you don't do that, you would have to go down here again. So I just suppress and create a new sketch, and that's what is showing me right now. It's doing this sketch after all the features. But if I drag the blue line and make a sketch, I'm gonna create a different sketch. This time I'm gonna create a square. As you see, the sketch goes just above the blue line back again. So that's the difference between dragging this and not suppressing the previous features. So I'm just gonna delete it and go back to my sketch. Show this sketch with the little eye there, and do that. So as we said, this is gonna be a dog kennel, and what we're gonna do is just give it a little bit more space, just because a dog kennel is supposed to be big for a big dog, obviously. So let's just make it probably 2 meters wide. Sorry, 2 meters long, and let's change it to 1 meter wide. So just remember, if you have any questions as I'm going, I will be able to answer you and try to answer you as best as possible, so you can understand and follow along as I'm doing it. As I'm doing this, and as you see, the whole thing has just changed a little bit. So I'm just gonna edit this, and it's giving me errors for some reason. I'm just gonna delete this and voila, it's all done now. So I'm just gonna say 800 millimeters is just too small for a dog, so I'll say 1 meter again. And I'm gonna click on the line and click on tap, so we can select here the Y dimension, the Z dimension, and the overall 3D dimension. So that's one way of defining a line in a 3D environment. I need the Y right now, so I'm gonna say 300 millimeters. And if you see from the front view, you can see now that I'm defining the Y dimension there for that line. So that's how you define that line. And now I don't have any errors. And I can now go back and drag that blue line and unsuppress all this. It's gonna recalculate it, and now it is going to be done. So that's our dog kennel for now. And then also this sketch was for, I don't remember what this sketch was for, but that's fine. What you can do is just right click and say parent child. That's gonna tell you the parent-child relationship between the features. Means whatever parents are of this sketch 17. So if you delete any of these parents, the sketch or feature will be deleted. And as you see here, you don't have any children. So if you delete this, nothing is gonna get deleted. And that's where I am interested on, because I don't want to delete this if something is dependent on it. So just delete that. And as you see, nothing, it doesn't matter because it wasn't dependent on anything. So now we're gonna go back to our editing mode. As you see, this is a fairly big dog. So what we're gonna do now is just hide all the features. By hiding the features, it's not gonna be shown in the 3D environment, but it's still gonna calculate it. That's the difference between suppressing and hiding. Hiding is just getting it out of your view, but suppressing is doing that plus not taking it into account for calculation within the program. And the only reason I hit those is because I want to use the same 3D profile, 3D sketch here. So I'm going to create a new 3D sketch and keep going with the features. So I'm just going to click on the line and say I want to draw in the XY by clicking the tab key, XY there. Maybe just go like that. Yeah, let's just do this. And as you see, since I'm working on an XY, I can just go all the way, just draw that square there. Now also, I want to draw 3 lines on the YZ plane, right there, and say these 3 have to be equal. I'm gonna hold Control for that. Say equal, and for construction, that means it's just gonna get created like that, but it's not gonna be taken into account for any features. It's just for a sketch reference. So as you see, if I make this and this and this equal, and the software knows that this is 2 meters, by default, this is just gonna say it's 160 millimeters, something like that. Oh, no, 660, something like that. Sorry, 3. No, yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. 666.66. That's it. And yeah, so that's gonna position. That's gonna make this little part of the house 666 millimeters by 1 meter, and this is just going to be free space for the dog to run or wander around or do anything like that. So as you see, I could probably just edit this sketch here, but I just wanted to show you that you can also keep working on existing sketches using a 3D sketch too, so you don't have to do everything in one go. And then probably, yeah, let's just finish with that. So I just get out of that. I'm just gonna click on that and hold my shift key and select all of them, and then just say, oh, I thought I could say show. Right there, my show. Okay. So right now what I'm gonna do is just click on these lines right here and finish the weldment. So we go to weldments. If you don't know where that is, just right click here and click on weldments. It will show that weldments, structural member, and I don't quite remember what this is, so I'm gonna create a new one. And as we said before, you can click on the lines and it will get created there. And right now I'm happy with the positioning just because this is the base of it, so we want that to be a little bit wider than the whole part. Otherwise you will need to do locate profile, which we will do in a little bit. So using that, I'm just gonna say create a new group, click on this line, and I want this one to be yeah, just there. So I'm gonna click there, say locate profile, and say here. And as you see, the whole profile is just there. And this is not optimal, but it's gonna work for now. So we do the same on the other side. New group, click on that, locate profile, and click on this, check the top, yep, new group, say we want that, and probably we want to change that profile location as well. So we do that, and just to give it a little bit more strength, we're going to create a new group and put it here. And we're not going to locate the profile for this because we're, well, at least I am happy with this right now. And finish it as it is. There you go. So we're done with that. I'm going to hide all the sketches. Hide, yep. Hide this and hide that. So we're all happy with how it's looking. I'm not too happy about this just because there's a long roof right here, and we usually don't want all these shapes just hanging around there. So we might do something with it in a little bit. I just want to finish the overall shape of it. All right. So editing now. We're in editing mode. Like we said, trim extend. The bodies to be trimmed are this one, pretty much all of them. There you go. Maybe not that one. And say we don't want a low extension, and say we want it up to here so that it rests over there. Good. We create another one. Trim extend. Let's just extend this up to this face, and then we can cut it back again. And click on that. That's gonna extend it too. There you go. Now we're gonna create a new trim, and we're gonna trim this, let's say up to body. Now it's got the shape that I wanted to have. You see? And if I isolate this with the isolation button, well, I guess I have to look at it here. Right. Isolate. It's got that shape now. So that's what I wanted to have. Just so it has like a little bit more balance on the sides. Yep. So now it's taking the shape that I wanted to have. Okay. So in this case, it's better to just make a simple cut. So to do that, I'm just gonna create there you go. I'm gonna create a sketch on that plane. Look at it from the front and create a square. And since I cannot see it, I'm gonna make a cut in the front plane, so I can have a section view and keep working from there. All right, coincident. Keep working like that. And as you see, I'm just dragging the points until it snaps with the parts. So line, point, there you go, pierce, which is just like a coincident relationship but on the actual plane. And since I don't want to do that on the other side, what I'm going to do is just create a symmetry. Click on those, then mirror, there, and copy about that. There you go, nice. So now it works with me. Right, so you wonder, how am I going to make the cut without on that body without having to cut that? The answer is really simple. Just go through the cut. You can go through all if you want on both sides, we don't care. And right here in feature of the scope, you can say selected bodies and uncheck the auto select, and you just select the body that you want to do. Now as you do it, it's just going to click on that. So it's just going to make the feature on that face. And that's what we want. Now as you see, it's taking a little bit more shape. It's a lot of work with dwellments. Well, not a lot, but it's just not that much, I guess. Alright, so we're done with the actual frame. So you can get that all welded for you. And now we're going to complete it with some parts. So yeah, all right, so I'm going to save this and I'm going to start making an assembly. I'm going to go make from assembly, then just show the origins, click on the point and the origin, and so that everything is on the same side. And now I'm going to create a new part from the assembly. That's another thing that SolidWorks lets you do. You can insert a new component, but instead of clicking here, you go new part. You can now select a face as a reference. And since I don't have maybe that face, no. All right, I'm gonna create a sketch. Sorry, a plane, and I want to say it's got to have the same direction as this. So I'm just going to click on that. Alright, so that's going to create a tangency, as you see, because this is a surface, it's not a line. And I want to say maybe that, no, not that one, but that one. Nope. You just try to do this one. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to create a perpendicular plane from the front face and a tangency from that face. And that's going to create our plane there. So that's how you make something like a plane. I'm going to hide these planes that are within the part. So plane 5 or 6, hide, save and close. And now I can finally keep going with this. So I'm going to create a new part, and it's going to ask me for a plane as a reference, and I have clicked on the plane. Oops. Let's just I'm going to delete those parts because they're not needed at all. And now I can finally edit this part within the context. So I'm going to click on this plane and say sketch, and just go Ctrl-8 so I can see what I'm doing. And now that I don't need this plane, you can hide it or just make it bigger so you know where you're working. And what I'm going to do now is just convert entities. So I'm going to click on that lines. Maybe not those ones, but the middle lines maybe, depending on how it's going here. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just trying to see which of all these lines, which one is the best that I can use, just so it looks better. Alright, never mind. Since I don't know which one to pick, I'm just gonna pick the inner ones. So as you see, I'm just clicking on lines now on the inner lines, because I don't really know which one I want to choose. And keep clicking on this. There you go. And the reason I do that is just because I want to convert entities. And now I'm going to use my trim tool to keep work, just to have a consistent shape and overall continuous shape. There you go. Okay. I'm going to convert entities, and this one I want to extend, and now I can trim. And I also want to trim this one. Oh, extend first. You see the gap there? That's what's telling you that there's, if I trim this, it's gonna get deleted because there's no other segments that can be used as a reference, as a finish point. So now that I extend it first, it's got that reference and it will have it like that. And now I can do a feature and just click on this, on that face that I just selected, and just say we want 2 mil out. Oh, sorry, 2 millimeters. There you go. And get out of the edit part mode. And now we have that. So now what I'm going to do is basically do the same. I'm going to open this part and edit the sketch. As you see, we've still got that, so I'm gonna trim. And since I want it a little bit bigger, because I just chose the insides, I'm gonna right click, select chain, and then just go offset. Let's say I want a 10 mil offset. We can play with that later. Right click on the inner line, select chain, and make it for construction. So now if I go out of here, it's gonna give me a warning saying that the first region wasn't there, so I'm gonna click on the second region, and we don't have any issues anymore. And the reason I did that offset was because I wanted to actually sit on something, and you can look around and see if there's any interference, but you can also do the evaluate tool, the SolidWorks way, and go interference, right click, delete one, delete this component, and then just click on that face and click on calculate. It's gonna calculate whatever interference is with that part instead of the whole assembly, because if you calculate the whole assembly and you have a lot of parts, you may run into a little bit of trouble. Yep. So you only need to do that once, luckily. And if I double click it, I can always change this. So I can click the offset and say 50 and rebuild, so it calculates back again. And as you see, now we have an interference. But that's suspected we cannot make it as big as we want it to. So maybe that's enough. Seems like it is. So just again, we're gonna do the interference, calculate, and you see no interferences. Right, so we did these ones, and then we are gonna click on a mirror components and say I want a mirror component along the right plane, and that component is this one, and just say you can have this as an opposite hand version. For some reason, when you do a mirror in assembly, it lets you have 5 ways of mirroring mirrors. So you can mirror along that plane with the same orientation. You can mirror along that plane on that orientation. You can mirror on that one, or you can mirror on that one. So that's the different mirror ways. And if you have another shape that is not that square, you will see the difference. So what you do here is usually you click on the right hand, and then you can click here and you can say this is a mirror part, so it's not always going to be the same part as the original, just because if you have any faults or holes or stuff like that, the holes are on the other face instead of the holes and bends are on the other face with another dimension, sorry, the other orientation. So that's why you have to do that. And now we are starting to close it. And then I think we're gonna leave this for today. Next episode, what we're gonna do is finish the roof, do the sides, and just give it a little door. And maybe since we have this space that the dog is not gonna be used by the dog, we may have a little bit of storage like dog food or something like that. So we may do like a little door here and then finish it like so. So I'm just gonna save this in assembly. Oh, since we created a part within the assembly, it's gonna tell us you wanna save it just as part of assembly, or you want to actually save it as an individual part. Usually you want to save it as an individual part with an actual part name, but saving it internally allows you to do it so the overall weight of the part, sorry, not the weight, but the data, the megabytes that you have in your part are less when you save internally instead of externally, because that part is not going to be considered as a real part, but just as a reference part. So that's what I'm going to do now, just because I don't want to save too much in my computer. And that's going to be it for today. I want to thank you for your time, and you can do all the good stuff like sharing, commenting, subscribing in my Facebook and YouTube channels. Thank you very much for your time again, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye.